Good morning. Good morning. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you to the grand opening of the new State Capitol Museum. Before we get started, I want to acknowledge a few of our Oklahoma Historical Society board members who are present. I saw Jack Baker. Good morning, Jack. Jim Waldo, Weldon Watson, and Cheryl Evans. And if there's any other board members who snuck in before I was able to see him. And then we also have Gary Bands, who's a member of the Friends of the Oklahoma History Center, and he's here as well. So thank you all for being here. We're excited that you are with us today as we unveil this new showpiece in the Oklahoma State Capitol. Almost 8 years ago in 2014, the monumental project to restore the Oklahoma State Capitol commenced. After years of failing systems and deferred maintenance, the People's House was finally going to be restored thanks to funding authorized by the legislature and signed into law by Governor Fallin. The work was daunting. How do you go about replacing all of the internal systems that make the building function while keeping the building operational? How do you perform invasive window repairs without vacating the people working on the other side of those windows? How do you put a new copper roof on the Capitol in record time? And how do you work around the regular legislative sessions and the occasional special session each year? And how do you keep a massive project like this on budget and on schedule? Thankfully, we had the right teams with the right problem solvers on the job. Nothing about this restoration project was run-of-the-mill. New days brought new issues and new challenges to overcome. Yet as we stand here on the finish line of this $275 million project in a beautifully restored building with a completely modern infrastructure, we realize it was all worth it. Future generations of Oklahomans will benefit from the investment that we've made here. And before I go much farther, I'd like to recognize a few of the teams that worked on this project. First of all, we had the State Capitol Repair Expenditure Oversight Committee. We had the Office of Management and Enterprise Services. We had Mass Architects. I see Dwayne Mass back there. Good to see you, Dwayne. WJE Associates, J.E. Dunn Construction, ADG Architects, Trainer HL, ZFI Engineering, Manhattan Construction, and FSB Architects and Engineers. And those are just a few of the many, many people and groups who helped make this project a success. When the design process for the interior project began in 2015, it was our goal to program a space in the building so that we could tell its story. Not only that, as the Capitol is the front door to Oklahoma, we felt like we were missing out on opportunities to educate people about what happens within these walls. This museum has been meticulously planned and curated by our Oklahoma Historical Society staff. And I'd like to specifically thank Dan Provo, who has shepherded this project for the past 2 years. Our mission at the Oklahoma Historical Society is to collect, preserve, and share Oklahoma's unique and fascinating history. Starting today, school kids, teenagers, tourists, Route 66 road trippers, parents, grandparents, and friends will be able to leave this building understanding our history better than when they walk through its doors. And now I would like to give a warm welcome to my friend, the 17th Lieutenant Governor of the state of Oklahoma, Matt Pinnell.
Well, thank you all so much. Round of applause for Trey Thompson, please. That was a louder round of applause that I got, Trey, so I heard that. Oklahoma City certainly has earned a reputation, rightfully has earned a reputation for big projects. Oklahoma City should be very proud of the investment that they have made in themselves over the last multiple decades. Yes, maps, but a lot of other investments as well. With more than $5 billion of public and private investment in quality of life projects and improvements happening over the last 2 decades. This museum is a project that has certainly been a long time coming, and I'm, again, so excited to welcome it to, again, the state capitol. As Trait said, this is the front door, one of the best front doors that we have inside the state of Oklahoma, and tourism is the front door to economic development inside the state of Oklahoma. Visit OKC is one of the best job recruiters that we have. The team that we have in Oklahoma City that invites people to this world-class city. Then we can have what? Imagine that moment. People see how amazing of a city and how amazing of a state Oklahoma is. But you have to get people to the state and get people to this amazing capital for them to see it first. A few of these tourism numbers for you to put this in perspective. We have over 18,758 hotel rooms now citywide inside the city of Oklahoma City. It's a game changer for us. 7.5 million out-of-state visitors each year. A $2.3 billion annual impact right here in the city of Oklahoma City. And a 58-to-1 ROI. ROI, that's my favorite word. Return on investment. For every dollar we spend promoting tourism in Oklahoma City, we generate 58 bucks. I've looked around state government. It's hard to find that kind of ROI inside of state government. But we find that inside our tourism industry. And one of the biggest reasons is because we are so unique. No state can match the heritage and the history of the state of Oklahoma. What you are going to see in here, what you are going to see around this state capitol. There's no other state that can match what we have. And if we continue to play to our strengths as a state, everything that we teach inside of this building, everything that we teach outside of these doors, across 77 counties, not running away from any of it, but teaching all of the history that we have inside the state, then we will have millions and millions of more people showing up in Oklahoma and then deciding, hey, I love this city and I love this state so much, I'm going to relocate to Oklahoma City or one of our amazing towns that we have across our 77 counties. So I cannot thank Trait, his leadership, and those that helped make this possible over at the number of, it was very daunting to say the least. But I hope, again, you will certainly welcome this new facility, this new exhibit, and everything that we'll be able to show into the future. The Oklahoma State Capitol Museum is certainly going to provide a key educational component to visitors. It will play an important role in attracting people to this beautiful capital for decades and decades to come. So on behalf of the state of Oklahoma, thank you for being here, and we look forward to cutting this ribbon in just a few short minutes. Thank you all so much.
And now I'd like to introduce Dan Provo. Dan Provo is the director of the Oklahoma History Center.
Good morning. Thank you all for being here. This is a wonderful day and a wonderful beginning to another step in sharing the culture and history of Oklahoma with our citizens and with the world. What my task is today is to share with you a little bit about how this exhibit came about, what it represents, and where it may be going in the future. I'd like to share with you a little bit of information about a lot of the people involved. An exhibit like this and a gallery like this doesn't just happen. It takes the work of a lot of people. And so basically it's the tip of the iceberg. Think of it as a movie. You've got the final product and then you've got the credits at the end. And part of what I'd like to do is to share with you a little bit of who made this possible. Of course, the story starts with the people of Oklahoma, the legislature, the governor's office, the Capitol Oversight Group making the provision to have the space for the facility here and allocating the resources to make that happen. Without that support, none of this is possible, so we appreciate that. When that started moving and when the Capitol project was moving forward, Trait met with Bob Blackburn, the former executive director of the Oklahoma Historical Society. They talked about an opportunity and both just jumped on board with it. Bob then started organizing staff within the Historical Society on how do we move this forward. He developed the concepts that you will see within the exhibit area in consultation with Trait and with others, and again, put together a team. Part of what you will see in the exhibit design for this is a cohesive representation of the state capitol building. What happens inside of it, the history of the building itself, all these things coming together. That design was done by Cameron Eagle of Ink Ranch, and he played a leading role not only in the exhibit design, but in graphics development, in elements of audiovisual programming, and a wide range of things. Working with him on some of the graphic production is his son, Danny Eagle, who's here somewhere, back over there. So thank you, Danny. So it was an effort on many, many levels. We were fortunate to be able to work with some very talented artists as contractors. Chuck Clowers in Generation 3 constructed the custom exhibit cases, the cabinetry within the space, and we had the fortune to work with Chuck in the past, and he always delivers a very high quality product, so we appreciate that. The graphic designs, the final culmination of all those things were printed by SNS Promotions, Steve Sake. And I don't know if Steve is here today. I think he was going to try, but he may not have made it. But the graphic printing is an art. So you combine that with custom cabinetry, with the graphic, with the printing, with people that care deeply about all elements. As you come into the exhibit, you're going to pass through the rotunda area where there are 6 projectors that are showing an animation, which basically takes you from the open ground of where the Capitol is up through where we are today. That was also, the storyboards were done by Cameron, and the design work and animation by Digital Design, another partner. That would be Joe Rogowski and Monica Knutson who worked on that, as well as the various touchscreen interactives that you see. So a lot of different players going into that. Some of the artifact mounts were fabricated by our staff, and I'll talk about them in a minute. Others were fabricated by Shane Welch, another independent person. Under the administration, publications, development, and research, we had contributions by Trait, by Bob Blackburn, by Larry Odell, and by Elizabeth Bass. I don't know if Elizabeth is here or not, but Elizabeth played a critical role in fact-checking, in editing, in a variety of things that greatly contribute to what you see within this exhibit. We also had the full support of our finance division with Terry Howard, Kim Chadbourne, and Lauren Mattice, although we share Lauren with the finance department, so we won't say too much about that. It takes all these folks coming together. Part of what you will see are a wide range of photographs, of archival documents, of film footage, of audio recordings, and those we were assisted with Chad Williams, with Mallory Covington, and with Catherine Coley in working through the research center of the Oklahoma Historical Society. Within the museum itself, the following participated in significant roles: Jim Meeks, Jeff Briley, Natalie Fiegel, Sarah Dumas, Sherry Massey, Jason Bondi, Lori Oden, Carrie Fox, and Tori Taylor. You begin to get a sense of how many people have had a hand in putting this together. So we look forward to this opportunity to share it with you. One of our other partners on this was, of course, the Friends of the Oklahoma History Center, who provided oversight and integration of many of these components. As you walk in, you're welcomed by the introduction and the right to vote, the right of the people, consent of the governed by the people. You move into the exhibit itself, and you will find an area that Bob called defining documents. These are the documents that shape our state. Things like tribal constitutions, the Oklahoma Constitution. How do you amend the Constitution? How does a bill become law? You move from there into a discussion about the legislature, about the executive branch, the judicial branch, political campaigns and candidates, other elected officials, and then you move into an area about this building itself. So talking about what goes on here and then what brings it all together. The history of the structure, the history of the people that have participated in its construction and in its use as it does the people's business. And then finally culminating with a discussion and an exploration of the restoration. So it's a wonderful story, it's a comprehensive story, but it doesn't end here. You will also find some online education components where you can achieve or you can access virtual programming and curriculum about the state capitol building and about some of the related functions. I'm quite certain, as we've seen in other circumstances, that as people experience the exhibit, others will come forward and offer artifacts, stories, other information, and things of that nature. And we will fold that in to the constantly evolving story that is the state capitol. So again, welcome. Thank you for coming. We look forward to sharing this all with you.
Okay, we're going to cut the ribbon here in just a couple minutes, but a couple of things I want to mention. First of all, after we cut the ribbon, we have some refreshments over here. We would love for you to avail yourself of them. And then you are welcome to go through and tour the museum for yourself and see everything we're here to see today. But I do want to point out one thing. As you walk into this small rotunda here, you'll notice the stained glass above your head. The stained glass is the original stained glass from the saucer dome that was in the Capitol when the Capitol was built in 1917. All of that stained glass was removed during the dome project in 2001 to 2002 and stored, and then it was lovingly restored by Tim Brown over here of our Artistic Glass Studio and his team, and now it once again resides in our state capitol building again. So you'll have a chance to enjoy that as well. So I think we should cut the ribbon now. We invite you all to come in and see the exhibit.